Hi people, today we are going to be talking about What is the Witch by Rachel Griffin. After reading her first book, here's the cover, The Nature of Witches, I was amazed and I was very interested in the second one, especially because the first one, it presents like seasonal witches, something like that. We have the figure of the witch like in current reality, which is working alongside humanity. And yeah, I did love the idea that she presented in the first book, but I was very interested in the second one because in the second one we were going to be introduced to a witch who was able to work with animals, and we were going to be introduced to new kind of witches. I'm not going to explain very much about what kind of witches we're going to find in this book. Let's say that in this book, our main character, a witch called Iris, she has the ability of connecting to animals and to nature in a really amazing way, and that's something that really caught my attention because I love the outdoors, I love nature, and more than anything, I love animals. So yeah, I was kind of sold on the premise of the book. So yeah. And I have to say that I devoured this one. I mean, this book is amazing. I just couldn't put it down. I did love it even more than the first one. And yeah, all around amazing. There's a part towards the ending, it's going to be spoiler free. I'm not going to say anything. But yeah, it made me cry. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, expect to have lots of feelings while reading this book. So what we are going to find here? At the very beginning, we are going to learn that Iris lost, she had a best friend, and her best friend tried to convert his boyfriend into a witch, actually a mage. People who are converted to magic when they are older are called mages, but the thing when Iris and the guy died. So Iris' best friend is stripped of her magic, and she's also part of the trial because she was there and she tried to help, but she couldn't. So she gets away because she isn't actually guilty of what happened at that moment, at that night. So she ends up having to flee the place where she has been brought up, because everyone is like pointing at her and calling her witch, but nothing but connotations like, okay, you were like somehow responsible for what happened to the guy. And so she and her mom decide to relocate into another place where they create this sort of sanctuary where they treat different animals that come to them injured, and I love that. I love the vibe of the sanctuary, I love the relationship Iris has with her mother, and I love the new place and new relationships and new love that her mother manages to find in this new place. Like, okay, breaking up with everything that we had before was harsh. It was not something that maybe ideally at the beginning we would have considered, but once it was done, turns out it ended up for the better, or did it? Because in her workplace, Iris works with a guy called Pike, and she discovers very early on that Pike kind of hates witches. And yeah, Iris has been hiding that she's a witch because of everything that happened before. So, but at the same time, it's who she is, and she wants to be able to say, hey, we want to live in peace. We are not evil. We have demonstrated that we work alongside humanity. But you know, everything that happened to her, it's like it has put this lid on her feelings, so she's hiding who she is. And having someone disrespecting, saying that he hates witches so lowly, makes her, and she decides to put a curse on him. It was not something that she wanted to really pursue, to really end up doing, but there is this big owl, and it flies past, and the moment the curse is released, and somehow the curse attached to it, we end up having Iris and Pike having to team up to capture the owl, and stopping the curse from being released and humanity being obliterated. Okay, the last part is a bit of an exaggeration, but yeah, it can have devastating effects if the curse is released. So yeah, that's everything I'm going to say about the book. But I have to say about the plot and the summary, and it's kind of a spoiler free because some of those things are just in the back of the book. But yeah, okay, here it comes. I love Iris. I love the place where she comes from, where she has learned to hide who she is in order to be accepted. Because when the unthinkable happened in the past, and yeah, the stakes were quite high. That guy died, everyone began pointing blame at her and her friend, so they have to flee where they're from. She has to hide who she is. She doesn't want to, but she kind of thinks that everyone has secrets and she has to, hide who she is in order to, as I say, gain acceptance. And I love how at the time that you keep on reading and the story moves, she begins to resent having to be in hiding. She wants to be who she is. She wants to be accepted for everything that makes her her. She wants to be enough as she is, and she doesn't want to be hiding part, so she's accepted by society. And I think that's a very powerful message here. Also, Pike, at the very beginning of the book, you kind of hate him because you are seeing him through Ivy's eyes, and she hates him. So yeah, he's interested like this prick guy. But as the story progresses, you begin caring for him, and you understand also where he's coming from in his stance against magic and everything. And I love how they are together into this kind of adventure that ends up being like a self-discovery journey about each one of them and each other, and how to begin to open to each other and see, why there were things keeping them apart and whatever can be done or not about it. And yeah, I do love this traveling idea, following this owl who has a soul in the curse, and how everything evolves. And I think it's a very believable story. I can believe that there is a place where this witch is following this bird and it's trying to stop it from dying or releasing the curse and ending with everything that she has been constructing. And I love the relationship that these two have, well, three, because I also love the relationship they have with the owl. So for me, it was very believable. The characters were amazing. They were well crafted and well rounded. As I said, you can believe that they are really human beings. And for me, the relationship that they build between them is something that you get and you feel, and you're rooting for them, and you want to save the owl, and you want to stop the curse, and you want to have Iris being able to say I'm a witch, and you want to have Pike being able to overcome this hatred that he has, and you want to understand why he has it in the first place, what happened to him that influenced him to feel this way, and whether or not he can overcome those feelings. And I love everything about this book. I love the magic system. I love the witches like in our nowadays. I love that we get to know new types of witches after the ones that we met in the first book. I love the story. I love the owl. I love the animals. I mean more about the sanctuary. I love how different this book was from the first one. I love how well connected the characters are. I love the relationship between parents and kids, and this idea that sometimes the people who aren't supposed to hurt you, they do. How everything, you begin to see the past and the things that you share with them, and begin to question if everything was tainted, or at some point it was real and it just took a wrong turn, or whether or not you were allowed to not hate, but feel like, okay, I don't know if I can forget that. And also you have this idea that you present about the grudges that you carry. They're heavy, so you have to discern which grudges you want to carry and which ones you want to forget, and who you want to forgive and move on. There's a lot of very interesting topics in this book about relationships and about moving on with grief, with pain, with self-doubt, and finding your self-worth and your self-expression, and being able to say to the world, this is me, and you have to accept me for who I am and not who I am pretending to be. Like, I'm not going to fit into this box so you are comfortable. I want to be able to show myself and tell what I am and to share it with you. And yeah, there's lots of amazing things in this book, and I love the animal representation. I don't know if I should call it that, but I love the idea that we have witches that work outside with animals, and I love that. And yeah, I do recommend this book to you like 800%. So thank you for watching. Bye.